horse is an animal living in a herd, and to make a herd work, you have to cooperate. So when it doesn't, it tries to tell us something.
The horse has no obligation to do what we want.
If you warm the horse up, yes, then you can't feel a lot, but it's just because of the adrenaline who's coming out to the blood, so the horse can't feel it. But it doesn't mean it isn't there anymore.
Hi Sarah, welcome to our podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. Can you explain us a little bit about your life and how you started with horses and how it led you also to where you are today?
Yes, sure. Thank you for invite me. I am Sarah. I have Sarah's Horse Massage, and I also have education for coming up horse massage therapists. And making courses as well for private owners for making maintenance massage for the horses. And I think I always loved horses because when I was a little girl, my daddy said, she doesn't run, she's cantering. So I think I have always just have some kind of something about horses in my life. Started riding like everybody else. I had this old horse who couldn't be ride that much. So I spent a lot of time from the ground with her and found out that the friendship seemed to be most important for me, and being around the horse more than actually the riding. And I think that's what, by a lot of strange ways, led me to be a horse massage therapist after the years. So I really feel pleasure about being around the horses more than on the back of them. I do ride once in a while, but it is the work with the horse and the body and the horse's mind and soul that is my primary interest and laying close to my heart. So that's what brings me here.
Yeah, well, the most important is the friendship with the horse and to treat it and to take care of it. That's what we are all here for. And it actually makes it so nice to be around the horse as a therapy, actually. But so you are actually a masseur, and what kind of a massage do you give?
I do many kind of therapies actually. I do classical massage and also work with the fascia. Then I work with a technique called functional indirect technique, which you use both contact with the fascia and the nerves. The part of the nerve system which lays outside in the fascia, just under the skin. So you communicate very gentle to the nerve system going to the brain, say please relax, and make the body relax. And with this technique you also can work muscles, of course, tendons, ligaments, joints, organs, and body systems like the cardiovascular system and the digestive system and stuff like that. So you can come all around the body with those systems. And if nothing helps, I also use healing and partly telepathic communication. If the horses have something to communicate, they communicate. I don't talk to them like this and so I ask it and stuff, but sometimes I get messages and I use them in my work. So it's up to the horse if it has something to send to me. So I have a broad palette, but always it's the massage who is the kind of the skeleton in my work. So it's around the massage I build all the other stuff, and then I use the techniques that is necessary for the horse, because no treatment is the same depending on the horse.
Exactly. Every time, every horse is different,
yes.
And every horse does or needs the things to be done in a certain way.
Yes.
So the intuitive massage is the one that you kind of use a bit, you receive messages.
Yes, I use my intuition. So I used all this, the general kind of science, the knowledge of the body and the anatomy and the biomechanics, and about the pathology and stuff like this. Use this as a base, but sometimes there's more than this around us. That's where the horse's soul come in, and the communication and the energetic work. We have so many things that we don't know a lot about, And instead of saying, I don't know what it is, so I don't want to use it, you say, okay, I open up and say, come to me, just let me know. And then you find out things that you couldn't have known in any other way, because nobody can have all knowledge in the world. But in what I call the field of the intuition, you have principle, all kind of knowledge lying and can get out and get it. So sometimes you use it. But if it's obvious, if the horse is lame and the muscles are sore, you just go using your usual stuff. But sometimes you have, whoa, there's something here, I don't understand it. And just be open and let the horse talk to you, let the body talk to you. Stop the brain sometimes, because the brain can stop us. I guess you know it as a rider as well. How do I come into this horse? And then if you just relax, you get the solution and think, wow, why did I do this? I don't know, but it works. and that's what I let happen when I work. So I use my intuition as well.
I call it, I follow my gut.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. Intuition, the gut feeling, it's the same. Or the sixth sense, some people call it. And it's not that hocus pocus if you go into it, but it's a bigger, that's what you learn in my education about how to contact it and be aware of it, because everybody have it and everybody can use it. But when you give yourself the opportunity to learn about it and to use it consciously, you can use it much more and get so much more out of it than if it's just occasionally that you felt something. You can use it with consciousness.
Through your hands, you can work on the fascia to relax the parts of the fascia and the nerves. Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? Just
well, maybe it's an idea to tell about what is the fascia. Yeah, so fascia is all around in the body. Around every muscle, there's fascia, like a kind of a shield, or maybe you can say a sock, who all muscles is put down in a sock. And in the muscles, there are small fibers. Every fiber has fascia around it. And every little cell in the body has fascia around it. And every organ have. So the fascia is kind of a sliding place, and also separation amongst parts in the body. And also it have on the fascias under the skin. There's nerve ends, sensory nerve ends, who's telling what's happening on my skin to my brain, so I can send a message out what to do about this message. And this is all around the body. So if you touch the body somewhere, there would be just like if you pick in a spider web. You can see you pick it here, and then there will be a vibration in the other end of the spider web. It's exactly the same when you work in the fascia. So you can work very lightly on the fascia, on the skin, very, very small, just 2 grams of pressure or a little vibration. Then you can do like if you make a vibration in a spider web, have an effect way in the other end. So you can do the same in the horse, work it a little in the neck, and have an effect down by the tail or the hind end. So that's what the fascia is, very short. Yeah, so that's how I do it when I do it. So it can seem a little magic when we're working, because we're just holding our hands sometimes, have a finger, have 2 fingers, have a little vibration, and then you see suddenly the horse just like relax and roll their eyes and yawn or licking or chewing or something and making a release. And afterwards you see, as you have experienced yourself, the horse is actually doing better, perform better afterwards by very little contact with the horse.
It was amazing, because horses that could not stand still and were scraping and this, after a couple of seconds, they were already relaxing, and yes. It was really, really...
When they find out what's happening,
yeah,
they gotta relax. But sometimes some horses need some time to find out what it is. They have to learn what treatment is and what it does to them, because you go in where it may have a sore place, and as a horse is a fleeing animal who gonna be eaten by some kind of predator, and we are a predator. They say, you're going to a place on me who's sore. I'm going off. So that's why you almost always in the beginning of a treatment see a horse walking a little away. Oh, no, don't. And then they found out, whoa, this is a release. Okay, it's actually nice. I stay. But they have to find out. And some horses learn really fast, are very, very aware of their body and in a big trust for humans. And other horses who might have a lot of pain or bad experiences with humans may need longer time. So it's, again, always depending on the horse. How do you treat it? How fast can you go in and work with the worst things in the body? Other horses, you need just have a little success one day and say, "Whoa, this is good. You find out I didn't kill you today. Okay, I come back." And other horses, you can just go in and work with them very deep from the beginning and really go to the big problems at once, but it's different.
Well, I was going to ask you what's the difference between a masseur and a chiropractor, but now obviously with all the explanation that you have given, it's two different things. But
chiropractic is very manual and very direct. Yeah, it's manipulation, it's direct, and it's with kind of force, and it's very about the horse's biomechanics. You have a joint here, you're gonna push here, then this gonna happen. So it's a kind of square kind of working, where the way I work, and some masseurs is also, here's a muscle, the name of the muscle is this, you're gonna make this and this and this moves and this muscles. That's also a way of working with it, but by the year I just found out that this kind of working with the horse and with the horse's soul makes some deeper results, and work with the horse, because you can always manipulate on a horse, but it have to have it mind with to go deep and to not make it uncomfortable for the horse. Or if you have a trauma, if your problem came by hard riding and not understanding humans or pain, or and it have make a layer of protection, then when you're gonna go through that, you need trust. So if I can't make the horse trust me, I can't go deep enough. So I have to work in a trusting way with the horse, and then I need my intuition and my empathy to make it more sensible when I work.
After your explanation about what you're doing and the benefits that it has on the horse, can you explain how do you know what the rider feels when he's on the horse? Because you actually explained exactly what you felt, that the horse was more weak on the side, that the shoulder was going in, and how do you do that?
It's actually not in the intuitive part. It's a very basically anatomic part, because when you know the muscles and know what kind of work they do, you will know, well, this is a biceps. If the biceps is big, you have trained it. So if the horse have asymmetry, as an example, a weak back in one side and a lot of back in the other side, or a lot of brachiocephalic, this long neck muscle who is in the below of the horse, you know what kind of work the horse is doing. I can usually tell what work is a horse doing about looking at the body and feeling on the muscles. And that's also why it reveals where there is problem, because I can feel, oh, there's asymmetry here. It talks about this horse is moving. Asymmetric uses the left hind more than right hind, or the left shoulder is very frozen and hard and overdeveloped muscles. Then I know, okay, why does it have to use the right shoulder so much? Because it's gonna protect some other part. Okay, so where can it protect it? I go check, okay, left shoulder is really weak. Good, why is it weak? Because I don't use it. Why don't I use it? Because the problem is here. So that's how you're gonna analyze the horse and find out where is the problems. And of course, I can ask you and say, does this horse have a problem about the canter, or is a problem about the transitions of canter and trot or something? And you will say, wow, how could you know that? Because I can see when the horse has those problems, it can't make a proper canter. So it makes sense. So it's about just basic knowing about the horse and the anatomics and the biomechanics. That's where it comes from. And sometimes you have a gut feeling and say, do you have? but mainly this is about knowledge of the horse, actually. So that's why I love what I do, that I combine the holistic, the energetic with the manual and the practical, because it applies. It's not one world each. Many people have, I'm a masseur or chiropractic, or I'm a therapist, or I'm a healer. But I like to combine it, because we are we are at all.
It's compatible.
Yeah, sure it is.
Yes.
So if you only take one part, you're half part. Yeah, in my world.
I have received many difficult horses, and they always come from their owners, and they say, but my horse has always been grumpy, or that he's moody, or that every time I put the girth, he's angry, but that's normal. It's okay. But I just don't think it should be this way. There is always a reason for a horse to be grumpy or moody. Or does your treatments, do they actually can they identify the problems of their horses, of these moody horses?
Very far. I think one of the things that I'm really concerned about is making the owner get the right treatment. So maybe it's me, maybe it's the vet, maybe it's a blacksmith. I think the most important I can is to point where the horse to go next step. Is it a trainer? Is it a vet? Or is it me? Sometimes, often it's me. And yes, I can point out a lot because I'm also interested in the organs, and everything inside the horse is mirrored in the muscles. So you can find out a lot also about, as you talk about the girdle being grumpy by being mounted and have the girdle tightened, stuff like this, often talking about a problem in the stomach, ulcers, or sometimes also sand in the digestive system and stuff like that. And you can also feel that in the muscles and the horse's reaction. So I also have the same exactly as you. I couldn't agree more that there's always a reason. A horse is an animal living in a herd, and to make a herd work, you have to cooperate. So a horse is predestined to cooperate with other living beings to cope. So when it doesn't, it tries to tell us something. And really often it is the body who is a problem. There's pain or even a restriction who does it. The horse can't. I always say that 3 main reasons for a horse doesn't do what he wanted to do. It doesn't understand. Then it's a training problem. Or it can't psychic, or it can't physical. And the psychic is about traumas and bad experiences, and then there's the physical part. And I'm so sorry that so many people think they can write off the problems. Because if you warm the horse up, yes, then you can't feel a lot, but it's just because of the adrenaline who's coming out to the blood and then make the biochemics starting in the brain who's releasing painkillers in the body. So the horse can't feel it, but it doesn't mean it isn't there anymore. So I use a lot of time to say, yeah, but your horse is grumpy because of a reason. And I meet horses who have been grumpy for 20 years. And nobody's just like he is. Yeah. And he have got ulcers for 20 years, poor bastard. And it's really common that we just get used to this is just how it is. And I come to many horses because massage have this little irritating thing for me that many riders think that is wellness and just going to be nice for my horse. And I want to help the horses find out where is the problems, where does it come from. So I come ask people, is there a problem? No, it's just a little wellness. Okay, great. And then I ask them, but don't you have problems about make a canter as an example, or jumping, or does he go well on both reins? No, he never can make a left canter. So the horse doesn't have a problem. And then it can be the hips who is... or it's the pelvis or something who is totally unaligned or something. But we get used to it and just say, well, he's grumpy when I'm going to make transitions. So we get used to it. And it's a shame for the horse and for ourselves, because we could have so much more fun out of our riding if the horse's body works. And again, if the body doesn't work, over time, the mind will stop working as well. And it can close down, or it can go fight us, or it can go run. One of those 3. And you know that as a trainer.
Yes, I know that. And I always say riding should be easy.
Yeah.
If it's not easy, there's something wrong. And that's why I always look for help.
Yeah.
And it's always nice. There's so many people who can help you. Just need to know what to look for and who to look for to help. And I always do, like you said at the beginning, with checklist.
Yeah.
Shoeing, vet, masseur, chiropractor, and
Saddle. And
yes,
the
saddle,
teeth,
the teeth, exactly.
really the teeth and the saddle is just, wow.
Yeah,
Many horses have problems there.
yes, that is, I think, a really high percentage of the horses that I have dealt with had those two biggest problems.
Yeah, me as well. And it's, when it's fixed, it's just rest of the problems with the horse just go like dew in the morning when the sun comes, just gone it is. 1 or 2 treatment after checking the teeth and get them proper, then all the other things fall into places like it should be. So it's really important to could point out where is the best help for this horse now. And sometimes it's more than one thing, but start the best place where there's most benefit, the thing who is kind of the epicenter, and then go around the horse and find out what else could we take off.
What would you recommend, for example? How many treatments would you recommend a horse to have? I mean, of course, every day would be the a little bit. I guess it also depends on the use of the horse and if you have any problems, obviously.
Exactly. Of course, if you have a healthy horse, just riding one time in a week in the paddock and a couple of time in the terrain, is 1 time in a month. If you go show riding in an intensive way, up to 2 times a week would be the best thing. And when you have injured horse who's gonna be trained up again, also 2 times a week if you can. And that's also why I think that everybody should learn to do it themselves just for the maintenance. It's not because you as an owner or trainer or a rider can find out all the small things that I can find out, but you can take away the strains in the muscles. And that's the most important thing. It's a primary thing for massage. What it's doing is taking away the strain in the muscles. And everybody can do that. So, and it's expensive to have horses. I know. So that's why I think everybody should do it. And also because doing massage on your own horse also is making a great bond among the masseur and the horse. So there's more than one benefit. And that kind of bonding you bring with you on the back of the horse. So when you give the horse something good, just like when you give it treats, it likes you. If you make it feel better in the body, think, wow, what a nice person you are. I gotta do all I can for you. So you get the 10% more from your horse when you do good for it. And then you can make this maintenance, which is really my biggest, what do you call it? In Denmark, it's a kæphest. Something that you really want everybody to do. And I talk a lot about it. Do this maintenance because one thing you keep the muscles healthy, and the muscles, they are the body's biggest shock absorber, and it's the first part of the shock absorbing system in the horse. 60% of the horse's body, it's muscles. So if they work proper, you save the rest of the body. If the muscles doesn't work as a shock absorber, next part in this chain, it's the tendons. And if the tendons is also in strain and tense, next part is the ligaments. And they are even worse to fix when they break. After the ligaments, you have the joint themselves. Then you're gonna have strain on the joints and injuries on the joints. And as a horse person that you don't want to have any problem inside the joints, because then the horse happens to actually be finished as a show horse or a riding horse at all. So if you can maintain the muscles good, you prevent injuries. And also, if you are the owner going to your own horse, give it a massage 1 time a week or every second week. If you do that, you will learn your horse to know in a new way. Of course, you can feel when you ride, oh, it's a little stiff on the side today, but you get the signs earlier when you feel the muscles. So you get those early signs of, oh, now it's a little more stiff in the left hind end, as an example. And okay, my trainings might be a little too hard, or it was a little too rough the other day, or is there coming up a little injury? Should we make a day off or give it some maybe some back on track or anything else? So you can adjust your training, adjust your management around the horse by finding those small things. And that's also why I want to come to every horse at least once in a month, because not to fix anything. If the horse is great, it's just great. But there's also always a little thing on every horse. So there's always something to do for me. But this maintenance, finding the small things and take them away before they become something, then it's so much more funny to prevent and use the money on a masseur or taking a course and do it yourself than spending the money on the vet when the horse is injured. So better, like the good food you give the horse and the good training or the good trainer you use to train you, much more funny using the money over here than over by the vet and the time where you can't ride and train and stuff like that. So that's why the maintenance massage is my do it. Come on, just do it. It's so good.
I totally agree. I'm always trying to prevent, and whatever thing I really feel a little bit that is off, we try to fix it before it gets anything bigger. But that's really interesting information. Well, it's something that, of course, anybody can do. So why not do it, like you said?
And I think that especially you as a trainer, if you have, you could do it yourself if you have time, or if you have somebody in the stable, if you have people working in the stable or something, it would be great to make them do that as well. Not only mount the horse and fix the stall, but also say, you got to take this course and you're going to give the horses, because then you could be upfront about the injuries, because the injuries stop the training and that's just never fun. don't want that. So there's really much to get there, and especially for the normal horse owner who have 1 or 2 horses, they should, in my book, skip riding at least 1 time in a week, maybe 2 times, and do massage. It's better spent time, and you get better riding of it.
I'm not too much fan of riding every day. A horse needs a day off and relaxation also. It's when you strain the muscles too much, you get injuries. I know myself. I was an athlete when I was younger, apart from riding. And those injuries were caused because you were too many days in a row strained.
Yeah. The muscles need to have this recover time. And the only who doesn't need it, it's bodybuilders. Because they work with the strain in the body to make big muscles, but we don't want horses to have that, because they get heavy riding, they get strong, but not smooth. And then we have those horses where you need to go bodybuilding to ride your horse. You know those kind of horses have just hanging all the weight in the reins and become so strong. And it's not a good way of training. And it's also a myth I would like to really... kill a myth, what it's called.
Yeah, like you said at the beginning, the horses are very sensitive.
Yes.
So you should not need to use hand and not need to use strength. Of course, you need to use your core strength to keep in balance with the horse, but
you shouldn't be a bodybuilder to ride, because then there's something wrong in the riding. And I think if you ride a horse intensively 3 to 4 times a week, it's far enough. And then another thing I have saying over and over again, don't underestimate the walk. Walk the horse 1-2 hours each week. Just walk it. You can sit on it or you can walk by it, but just walk the horse. It's a part of the training. It's not a day off. It's important, really important for the muscles. And it's no matter what kind of discipline the horse is doing. At least once a week, go out and walk for an hour or 2, maybe 4 hours if you can. It makes so much about the capillary system. So the horse is working aerobic. You can build up the horse. So the body's ability to work with a lot of oxygen in the body instead of the not oxygen kind of work, because it makes lesser strain. So walk, and also for proprioception and for the horse's mind and for the recreation of the muscles. It's a great kind of so one time a week out walking, another time of week go massage. So and then work intensively 3-4 times a week.
My favorite part of training horses is actually walking them in the forest. So I guess that's it's also always good for the psychology of the horse. The horse becomes so much more confident, and it also builds up muscle just by walking.
It's so underestimated how much it gives to walk the horse.
Definitely. There was funnily there was a vet. I didn't know. Somebody brought me a horse. So they brought me a horse, and she gave me a phone number. I have a contract, so she filled up the details, and we started having a chat. There was no cameras, but we were just having a chat, and then I started telling her. She explained me what her horse was. Sensitive, this, that. He was a girl horse. I was like, well, that's the normal. Normal horses are girl horses. They should be ridden very lightly. And then I told her, look, I have received all kinds of horses. I don't know any stupid horse. I have received very sensitive horses, and I have figured them out. And they just need to be understood. And then I looked up her name. She was a vet. She was a top-line vet, and she had had an interview. And in the interview, she said there are no stupid horses, and I didn't know that at the time. But so it's only the people who don't look to understand.
Yeah, and then the language we have about the horses. We are saying a lot of things about them who make it color us in a way when we talk about them. It don't want to go to the left rein. No, it can't walk the left rein right now. So why can't? But it won't. It's a word a lot used about horses as an example, or he don't feel like it today, or it isn't like this.
The horse has no obligation to do what we want.
No.
And it still does a lot of things.
Yes.
As long as it can do them.
If they can, they do them.
And even if they cannot do them, they try still.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that people think that they don't want to do it.
Yeah. And it's just about it as a language thing, because I think we trained us from the people who were kids, start trained talking another way, because the language forms what we're doing and how we feel about things. So and many people say, my horse don't want to go to riding. No, of course it don't want to. It didn't decide it. But if it doesn't do it, it's because he can't. By one of the 3 reasons. Never because they're stupid. Never because they planned, I don't want to go do this. They will always try. And when I see what horses walk around with of pains and still do what they're asked, and it's really hard, because when the horse can do this shit and you come to tell people, but it hurts doing this shit, yeah, but he jumps everything, yeah, because it's a good horse. And sometimes I tell people, you really have a good horse. You have the nicest and the most kind horse I've ever met, because he ought to throw you off. If I was your horse, I would throw you off, because this one hurts. They're just closing in. So the good horses is all often those who's closing down, and the bad horses is those who's shouting and say, I can't listen, for Christ's sake. So it's really it's hard to be a horse, and it's nice. So many people, so much have happened the last 20 years.
Oh yeah,
when I started riding without a bridle 20 years ago, people came tell me, it's irresponsible, you can't do this. It's not okay riding a horse without a bit, because it's dangerous, you know. And people came out and didn't know me, just come to me, tell me, you can't do this. So many things have happened about what, and 20 years ago, massage for horses, ha ha ha. So many things happen, even though it's a big world to turn around, but many positive things happening, I really think, and I try to focus on the positive things, but I also come out something, I think, wow, we're still here in some stables. I was in one stable one day where I think, what is it about this stable? It's so strange, what's happening? And then I find out it was because almost 80% of the horses have kind of those bad habits about scraping or weaving or making it.
Yeah, cribbing. Yes.
Yeah, and then it was because they didn't come out. They only came out for riding, or if the owner have time to put them in a very small pen, about 2 times this living room, for half or an hour. And they didn't have straw enough to eat. So all the horses, and I remember that from I was a child in the stables, that they have all those kind of strange habits for coping with this kind of stress. And it was just, wow, it's this what is, wow, there's still stables like this, but most stables, there's light, they come out, they get motivated in different ways. So many things happens.
It's unfortunate, but yes, luckily we're going forward and we're trying to give the best to the horses. And yes, I totally agree. For me, a horse is outside. It should not come in the boxes. Only maybe if it's pouring like a storm, maybe they should come in. But the weather is relatively.
Denmark.
Yeah,
you usually can have your horse outside.
And
and they also become stronger. Again, back to the anatomy and the biomechanics, how to train a body, not by standing in a stable 24 hours or 23 hours.
I receive a lot of young horses, and I can tell you, just by looking at them, this horse has been most of the time in the box, this horse has been most of the time outside, and they're so much more fit, so I don't need to build them up slowly, their muscles, while the other ones that are outside is just, okay, they're strong, their tendons are strong because they're walking all the time. And so, of course, I'm always careful, but you kind of spend less time.
You have the basics on a horse who have been outside.
Yeah.
That's the basics.
They have the balance, they're better in balance.
Proprioception and everything. Yeah. And it's so funny that you don't choose it just automatically, because it gives so much to have the horses outside as much as possible. So,
apart from that, just the respiratory system. They breathe much fresher air than dust.
There's so many benefits, so I don't understand why you don't. And when you look in Denmark, that's another funny thing, because we have a lot of fat horses. And we have a lot of big fields with a lot of grass, and we have a lot of small fields with mud. And we make this funny decision about putting the horse in the small fields with a lot of mud in 8 months a year, where you are in risk of injuries, of stress, of fighting injuries amongst the horses because of little space. And then you have those wonderful big fields standing with green grass in the 8 months, and only use them for 4 months of the year, where the horse go out, eat too much, become ill. It's so funny. I don't understand it. They should just have all the space all of the year, and then maybe take them off the grass 4 months a year and put them in a small dry pen in that time. It's really funny. And also about the muscles, because I see it every winter. The horses become, the top line becomes bad in the winter when the horse goes on those small muddy pens and paddocks, because it's slippery. So when the muscle goes slippery place, it have to stop itself all the time. So you tense up. So they become tense in the top line, and get restricted movements and not as good as movement as if they have a lot of place to walk on. So also there's a benefit of using, just drop this summer grassing thing we have in Denmark. It's really, it's not healthy in any way. Just give them a place. If you have the place, give them a place all year round. And as I said, maybe bring them off in the summer. If they become fat, take them off the grass in the summer and put them in the small paddocks with only soil on. Because then you can control what they eat, so they won't get laminitis, as example, who is really a problem in Denmark. Last year we have kind of an epidemic of laminitis.
Also, this year,
so many horses all the time.
But I also think that if they're eating grass, they should not eat anything else.
No. It's also funny. But now he have his feet, but why? He's on the grass now. So you shouldn't have anything else.
You can give him minerals or vitamins
vitamins
if you're afraid of anything, but I don't think they should eat anything more.
No, it's so funny. Yeah, if it lack energy, but if it still have the energy, go in the grass, vitamins, minerals, that's it. But it's funny. I don't know why. I think it's because the farmers in the old days, it was easier to have the horses inside the stables all the winter. So they didn't use having the horses outside in the winter because it was easier for them. So they just have the horses in the stable standing, getting out on the grass in the summer when it was easy. So it's an old farmer thing. It's nothing what's called videnskabelig.
There's nothing thinking for the
no
well-being.
science. Yeah. There's no science behind why we do this, what we're doing. It's an old habit from when people was farmers. So it's a little funny. So it would really be recommended if you have the possibility. And again, the problem is for the main horse owner, they can't decide that. It's the stable owners who decide and say, no, we don't want to spoil the grass. But you have to spoil the grass because it should not be too good. Because then the horses become fat if the grass is too good. Another thing we don't think about, most of the grass that we plant in Denmark, it's meant for cattle. And it's cattle who got to make a lot of milk. And that's why they need really power grass. So we feed our horses power grass, which they don't need.
Power grass, and on top of all, they add the fertilizer, which is not necessary.
Yeah, and that's also what I think about power grass. You put fertilizer, and it's a really good quality. In Denmark, it's ryegrass is the main, where horses should be kind of herb mix. It would be much better for them. And nobody talks about if cattle have ulcers or stuff like that, because it doesn't matter, because they just should deliver a lot of milk, So nobody thinks about that. But I don't want to see a cattle's stomach as well. But it's another talk. But I think many people don't have the science behind what they're doing. It's nice that everybody can have a horse. The bad thing is that we don't know a lot about it. Many people don't know a lot about the science behind why do we do what we do. What is the arguments pro or con doing what we are doing? It's just many habits about we used to do.
There are many more studies now coming up with. In Sweden, there's a study about sport horses that have been bred outside.
Yes.
And then with more normal breeding, which is in boxes and all that. There's still no results, but I don't need any scientific study to tell me that the horse that is outside is stronger, because I can see... for example, here in Denmark, there's a school, Børnehave, which is a outdoor school, and the kids that are there, they're climbing trees that are 10 meters high and really strong. Coordination. While other kids that are in another school, well, they might be better with computers and iPads, but
the bodies doesn't follow them. No. And for learning well, you have to have a good body. It helps your brain concentrate. So there are so many benefits of having a kind of natural lifestyle. Doesn't make we gotta put the horses out back to the plains, but as much as we can give them of the plain life, the better horse we have to ride on, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree.
There will be horses which is broke down in the body, that the body can't be helped, but psychic, I always, at some time, and if the owner have got the time and wanting for it, we find a way in. But you have to have the patience, because if the owner want
a quick fix, there's no quick fix for
exactly. That. People call me and say, I know my horse have a bad back. How many times do you need? I say, I can't tell you.
It's the same.
Because, how many months do you need to train this one? I can't tell you. It depends.
I can't tell you. It depends on the horse.
So right now I have, again, a 4-year-old. It has already become a project horse. It's not mine. It's one of my customers. It already have become a project horse because it have long legs, great gaits, and a lot of expectations for it. Great lines, great bloodlines. So everything should be so very fast. And she couldn't, because she couldn't manage all these legs all over the place. So she refused and said, I can't. Really, she shouted, I can't. And no vets would look at her because she was so wild. And she came to another place, one trying to fix her. She couldn't get into her. And now she comes to where she is now for a try and see can we make her. And now I have been there 4 times treating her, and last time she suddenly found out, well, this is what you want. Oh, this is nice. I'm in. Just standing and say, I love this. But if the owner wants to see this horse standing, sleeping and yawning and all this stuff first time, they think, well, she's not a good masseur, that one, because the horse is walking around like something cackalack or something. And me just standing and waiting and try to calming down the horse. And if the owner don't have the time for that, I must, of course, give up. But usually over the years, I think I attract more and more of what I call the hippie riders, people who have the same approach to the horses that I have, because the fix it now, they get tired of me very soon. So
like I would say, there's no quick fix.
There is no quick fix. And the longer time it took to break down the horse to the state it is, the longer time to take to fix it. And I have many of those hippie riders buying a sweet horse who is given up, or at least it's a hard time. We use approximately 2 years of coming around the horse with the massage, maybe chiropractics or physiotherapist, the hooves, the teeth, and get the right tag, yes, and the training and the trust in the horse to humans again. 2 years for making a good horse, and often you can make a decent horse, but it is 2 years, and often the first year without a rider on it. Train it from the ground, build the body up again, build the trust up again. It takes time to fix a horse who've been broken down.
Yeah, like I say, I don't go, especially with horses that have become problem horses, I never go on top until I feel that the horse is inviting me to go on top. Oh. Because there's no point of going on top and trying to fix a problem from the owner.
Sounds very sympathetic, because they can't. No. They want to, but they can't. They really
exactly.
can't.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that people think that the one time you're going to make a miracle and fix things. It just doesn't happen.
So it's a lot about also educating the rider, actually, not only fixing the horse, but also educating the rider to
Once
understand.
I fix the horse, then I have to start fixing or educating the rider who wants to ride that horse, because every horse I give a kind of an instructions manual. This is what you need to do. This is what the saddle needs to be fitted. This is what the blacksmith that has been shoeing. This is how you should tighten the girth. Why I also like to see the horse in the lunge. It's not just because I want to lunge it. It's because I need to see how the horse is moving, how loose he is, or how he's feeling that day. Because sometimes from yesterday to today, the horse can be having done something in the box. Or
it's also important to think also if the horse can't do today what it could yesterday, there's something wrong. It's not because you don't want to. If you walked the right lane, the right rein nice yesterday, you ought to could do it today again. If not, there's a problem. Find out what it is. Maybe it's just sore because it was a really hard ride yesterday. Okay, then we know it's that. Give it a massage and a good walk, and it's over.
I would go even further. I would say if the horse could do yesterday that on the right rein or on the left rein, then he should be actually better.
Yeah, sure. I agree. Yeah. So at least it should do the same and very well a little better. And another funny thing is when you have fixed all the horse, when you can say, okay, now it's actually good, then you have the hardest part is to take the rider and make the rider fix itself. Because then sometimes, now we've been doing it all, but there's still this problem on the horse. I cannot fix it. It's on the back. It's you. It's your hip. It's your shoulder. It's your something. It's your arm. And I really love horse owners because they're so sweet. They want to do so much for the horses. But they don't want to do it for themselves. I say, then I can't afford you, Sarah. And then say, okay, then spare me for 3 months and go use the money on you. Because if not, we can't fix the last thing. When you're going to fix your hip, your horse going to work proper. Then we have the last thing with us. And it's a funny thing about riders.
Yeah, because actually there's another topic, which is the horse actually compensates for the rider.
Oh, yeah, sure. So that's another thing to take into concern when you're working with the horse. Is it the rider who is a problem? It often is. And I would say that at least 90% of all horses' problems come from humans or the human world they are in. You can say, okay, but it did something on the paddock, yes, but it was because the paddock was too small and full of mud, as an example, you know. So it's the way they live in our world that give the problems for the horses. So we have a lot of things to do, and sometimes I feel like a little, I feel a little ashamed because people come and take me out, and then I say, oh, but the saddle and the teeth, and you're gonna have me again, and make the vet check that, and people just stand like, oh, but I thought I just to have a little wellness, but I think it's important for the horses that
then you
that
should
we
have the
spread this
total.
knowledge.
Yes, you should have the total wellness.
Yeah,
not the little wellness.
No,
the little
exactly.
wellness won't do much. You need to.
And I don't want to just do this like, you know, massage. Well, then he's okay again for next time. Call me in a half year. I don't want to work that way. It's not funny because I feel unsatisfied when I can't help the horse. I see the horse, it feels pain and still work for people, and they don't see it because he jumps it all. And then you have to be the translator for the horses because they are so damn nice. Really. They try so much to do, and when they became stupid, it's because they really have a reason to act in a way we don't want. It's the only way to talk to us.
Like you said, if I were the horse, I would have thrown you off a long time ago.
Yeah, I would. I'm really. I don't want to be uncomfortable. But horses are really. They're so sweet. I had one he doesn't really like to have a bit on, but it isn't his big problem. It was a back, and we all had a focus on the back because it was really a problem and have been for years, and we came around more and more of the back, but still problems. And then I said, we can try take him to this very spectacular, very special dentist vet, who's my favorite, all-time favorite. You should talk to her as well. And then she came up with her horse to this vet, and she took an X-ray and found out, well, this horse have rotten in the jaw, deep down in the jaw, totally rotten in the teeth. And this horse have just been walking with her all the time. It have been, and it isn't something comes overnight. It have been developed for months, maybe years. Just walk with her. It's an Icelandic horse. They're terrible. They walk with everything. They just walk. They really can. They can really walk with some pain without saying anything. And the problem about the horses who doesn't say anything is it's the one who breaks down very fast when they break, because when they can't wear any more pain, they start maybe being a little lame or being a little.
It's too late then.
It's too late then because they have been compensating so long time in all the body, so they're broke down. So you find out it's lame. 14 days, a year later, you say, but it's broken. You can't fix this one. It's really a pity. So it's very nice of the horse. Nice guy, thank you, nice of you, but please wouldn't you tell us if you feel pain, because then we can help you. Where the more sensitive types feel sometimes more irritating for the rider. But it's good because they tell early. So there's something wrong. You know, I have some customers, their horse just like, oh, my side is just a little bit in the stuffing. It's a little asymmetric. I can't walk. I have to jump. I have to walk around. I have to do all those things to say it's not nice. And then you're forced to find out what's wrong. And when it's okay, totally nice horse again, you know. And maybe it might feel irritating, but it's a good horse who's telling how he feels.
I agree.
Yeah.
We always come down to the same conclusion, and it's all a question about teamwork and trying to find the best for the horse, and having good professionals, whether it's saddle fitter, whether it's dentists, whether it's masseur, whether it's chiropractors, vets, and also trainers.
One good habit that every rider should do, whether you would like to make a masseur work for you or you would like to try yourself, and if you do it yourself, maintain and still use a professional to make the
the checkup. Let's call it.
To find the what is called the to find out what's the deeper problem.
Yes.
But whether you do it yourself or make somebody else, make this habit. Touch your horse on every muscle, every day. Because it's funny, when we groom our horse, we have something in our hand. So we have something between the horse's skin and our hands, so we don't feel them. So if you just, as a rider, every day, just go down all muscles, from the neck, down the legs, the back, the stomach, the hind guts, and the hind leg. Just feel them. Don't try to feel anything. Just feel them, because then you're conscious. You're this kind of conscious that you're not conscious of. What's called your unconscious mind will learn how should my horse feel when it's proper, when it's normal, and when you someday do it and say, what's something it is not used to, but maybe I should have a masseur, or we're checking my horse, because your unconscious mind will know what your hands are finding out. It's again about using your intuition. So just trust it. Don't try to feel anything special. Just feel the horse with your hand every day, just all the way. And as a benefit, doing this is also making a relaxing feeling for the horse, actually help it release stress from the body. So that's a thing everybody can do starting right now and make a positive benefit for the horse and themselves.
I actually like touching the horses, but it's true. I sometimes just touch and I feel things.
You're not all over the body?
Yes.
And you have something in your hands?
Yes.
Or?
No, but actually, after grooming, I like to pass the hand just to make sure that there's no sand or things like that. But I have actually found many times, he's a bit swollen here, or this or that. But it is very important to feel, and so that you have a reference, the same way that you should also check the temperature of your horse, because sometimes it might go up and then you're like, oh, but this is...
Is this a normal?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you check every day, just feel all the muscles, you are actually already a long way on the road to find out if there's something coming up of problems. And then always take care of it when it's small. No need to wait to become an injury.
And the other thing is that people don't realize that actually the riding part is the smallest part of taking care of a horse.
No. It's very hard to get a rider down from the horse.
Yeah, because I mean it's around 10%. The rest is taking care of the horse. Mm-hmm. So you should make sure that you should know as much as possible to be able to take care of the horse properly. So I will definitely start my massage lessons
You're welcome.
to learn as much as possible about how I can help the horse. And thank you so much for the conversation today. It was really, really good. And I'm confident that many people will start learning how to massage their horses. Thank you so much.
So. And thank you for inviting me. And if anybody would be interested in trying those courses, it's on my homepage, sarashestemassage.dk. Under online courses, you can get them. And I also make live courses on agreement. If people want that, we just arrange it. So, and of course, I'm also ready to come out and do the work for you. But thank you very much for the invitation. I was delighted to be here. It was interesting.
You're welcome. We aim to invite inspiring people related to the horse world that will help you achieve a better understanding of your horse's needs, which will ultimately lead to a healthy collaboration. We'll bring you these experts here in this podcast, and they will help us be better at listening to our horses. We're here to help you see things from different angles. We're not here to preach that we have the ultimate answer. We're here to help you follow your gut and get answers. My objective with this podcast is to spread all this knowledge and to help you achieve better knowledge of your horse to become a better horseman. So make sure you stay hungry for knowledge. Hoofbeat, better together.